got to kick it off with a killer to grab attention. Then you got to take it up a notch.
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us.
Who are you? I'm Shiva, the god of death.
Cells. Interlinked.
It's like people only do things because they get paid. And that's just really sad.
Folks, welcome to Debaser, a film podcast. I'm Jared Rusk, and I'm joined by my trusty cohort, Will.
Howdy.
On this show, we explore both new and familiar movies as we attempt to analyze and interpret them, all in an effort to debase the films and ourselves. Will, we find ourselves in the end of financial crisis month.
Oh, I didn't know if that was supposed to be a leading into something related to either hell or high water or Texas or just getting revenge on the banks.
Come hell or high water, we're going to end this month with a banger.
Yes, we are.
You seem stunned. Sorry, I thought you were going to have more to say.
No, you're finally throwing it back at me, and I have no retort. I've got nothing. And normally I've got like a witty little response, but maybe it's your accent that's throwing me off. I'm not really sure.
Well, let's get right into it.
Let's get right into it.
Today we're covering the 2016 film Hell or High Water. It's available to watch on Hulu and DirecTV. I'm not familiar with the latter streaming service. I recommend you just check it out on Hulu.
I did actually watch it on Hulu today.
Right on. It stars Chris Pine, Ben Foster, and Jeff Bridges.
And
who am I forgetting?
Gil Birmingham.
And tell me, who is that?
Gil Birmingham is Alberto, the partner.
Oh, Jeff Bridges' partner.
Yes. He shares a significant amount of screen time with Jeff Bridges.
I'm sorry I left him off.
Well, you should be sorry. Almost, you know what? You're following in theme with this movie about being a little racist, Jared.
I have a note about that.
Oh, good.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just because I don't know him.
Yeah, I didn't know him either, but as the movie was going on, I was like, I've seen this guy in multiple different roles prior as an indie. Like anytime that there's
being an indigenous person in Hollywood, you do tend to get typecast.
It's true. No, it's very true. Because in that movie with Jeremy Renner and the Olsen kid who actually still has an acting career, Elizabeth Olsen, the one who's Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, but which movie is this?
It's not called Indian River, but it could be called Indian River. I can't remember.
Not Mystic River.
No, not Mystic River. Penn. It's the one where Jeremy Renner is a park ranger, and he's helping the FBI find a indigenous girl who has gone missing. And
I'm not familiar with this movie.
Yeah, it's dude. I'll find the title of it. We got to watch it because it's very good.
Is it written by Taylor Sheridan?
It's called Wind River. Or Wind.
It is a Taylor Sheridan, writer of Hell or High Water, which I'm going to get into.
Oh, are you fucking serious? It's the same person?
Yes. That is one of his scripts, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Wind River. Hold on. What was the name of the book?
Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah,
he wrote this film. I got a whole thing on him later.
Good or bad?
Good.
Okay, good. Yeah, but in that
one... Well,
one...
depending on what you think of his hit TV show. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
But Graham Greene, he plays... He plays
not the writer.
No. Graham Greene, the actor.
Yes.
You've seen this guy in any... Yes. He was in fucking The Last of Us. He was one of the two old people.
The game?
The show.
He plays Bill on the show. No, that's Parks and Rec. Nick Offerman.
You're killing me. No, he doesn't play. He plays a older gentleman who is living out the apocalypse with his wife on a ranch that they own. That's towards the later end of the show. And he's just very recognizable as a person who is a Native American that gets Native American roles whenever Native Americans are in films.
Well, I was going to say, Wes Studi is who people would expect to play this role too. He's in Heat. He's one of Al Pacino's. He's one of the detectives in that. Yeah. He's in Last of the Mohicans.
Yep. I know that guy.
Yeah. He's often a native character.
I didn't know his name.
He's like Hollywood's favorite, Native American actor, or at least he was. I think he's aging out now.
I got you. But so that's the thing is like I've seen this guy multiple times.
Yes.
And then I was like, he's in this movie a considerable amount. Oh yes. I'm gonna put him down to make sure that he gets.
Yeah. I'm glad you did. I'm sorry I left him off, but I'm glad you were there.
No, it's okay. Don't
get my slack there.
It's all good.
That's why it's a two-hander here.
Yeah.
Show. It's not all me. It's both of us.
Both of us.
Anyway, Hell or High Water.
You may be hearing a lot of things about me and your uncle.
Whatever I hear, I won't believe.
No, you believe it. I did all of it.
Those banks loaned the least they could so they could swipe your mama's land.
It's a big bank. It's too big. That's what she said.
They took everything from your family. This is your chance to take you back.
On the ground!
Paying them back with their own money?
Well, if that ain't Texan, I don't know what is.
You hear about these bank robberies? I may have one hunt left in me.
It's a good thing you're done.
We're doing it.
Every step of the way.
They know exactly what they're doing. They're trying to raise a certain amount, that's my guess. I think I got these boys figured.
He's got no record. He's never been arrested. You don't fit the bill, Marcus.
You want to get us killed? That's not part of the plan!
Gotta be smart. We're ways from being finished.
We're gonna need SWAT up here.
Get back!
These boys, they aren't done yet.
Let's jump into the synopsis. Toby is a divorced father who's trying to make a better life. His brother is an ex-con with a short temper and a loose trigger finger. Together, they plan a series of heists against the bank that's about to foreclose on their family ranch.
That's literally the description from Hulu.
What's the IMDb plot synopsis?
Oh,
as well,
okay. Somebody stole that from someone.
Yeah, when I give the 1 or 2 sentence treatment, I'm just lifting that from the official marketing. I do my own synopsis later.
Gotcha.
The movie was directed by David Mackenzie and written by Taylor Sheridan. Director David Mackenzie hails from Scotland and has directed a wide variety of smaller budget films like Young Adam, Hallam Foe, and Perfect Sense.
Okay.
I am not familiar with.
I've never heard of
his
any
other
of
works.
those. Yeah.
And he is Scottish. I watched a quick Q&A with him where he said, I thank everyone for letting me make this movie that is a very Americana movie for someone who wasn't born and raised in America.
Yeah.
So I think it's fascinating that he gets it so right.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Right? Well, and I think a lot of this, I'll get into this though, is due to the writer.
Okay.
Hell or High Water is arguably David Mackenzie's most well-known film, especially to American audiences.
Mm-hmm.
So writer Taylor Sheridan is perhaps one of the most well-known and beloved American screenwriters from the last decade. His first writing credit is the 2015 film Sicario, which we will cover.
Oh my fucking god! I did not know that.
First credit in Hollywood.
Dude, Sicario is so good. Did you end up watching that without me?
I've not seen it.
Okay, good.
Own the 4K Blu-ray.
Save it.
We will cover it because it is directed by my favorite living director, Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
He's good.
I posted this on the Debaser Twitter account, but I recently watched. You know how Vanity Fair does these, like a director explains a scene from their film.
Yeah.
He did the scene from Dune, the box that he puts his hand into. What is it called?
Yes, the torture box. I don't know what it's called.
It has a really cool name. The box. God, I'm not a big Dune guy, but when I saw that movie, I was like, I'm a Dune guy now.
It's the box of no feel goods,
right? And it became a meme, because it's so good. Anyway, he just breaks down that scene, and he spends 20 minutes on that scene. Like he clearly put his heart and soul into Dune, and it shows. Every second of that movie shows, but he is clearly infatuated with the text, and he talks so much about how he collaborated with like the set designers, the actors. Like he goes into detail on everything, and it's so fascinating. And he is just so. I wrote that it's infectiously joyous. Like he's clearly so proud of this movie and had such a good time.
He should be proud
getting it made. Yeah, and he was so happy. He says in the thing that he wanted to make a Dune movie that the 14-year-old version of himself that loved reading Dune for the first time would want to see.
Okay, that's cool.
And I don't think he's taking a shot at the David Lynch adaptation from the 80s.
No, yeah.
But I did, because of watching that, I went back and watched the original David Lynch's Dune version of when they.
When they do the no hurt box?
No, when they see their first spice mining operation.
Yeah.
It's when the son and his dad are being taken out to survey it for the first time, and it gets attacked by a sandworm.
Yeah.
I watched the original Dune, the 84 version, and then the Denis Villeneuve's version, and it was like night and day. Like I get that there was like a 40-year difference between them
For tech,
but
yeah.
it's
really good.
It's chef's kiss. It's just so
Did you see the trailer for the next one?
I don't want to because I heard it spoils a lot of it, and I don't need to see the trailer. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in the seat.
I mean, I am too.
I'm
but...
going to pay whatever egregious amount of money that the theater wants.
Oh,
you
doing
see that movie?
Are you doing the D-box?
I'll do XD. I'll do IMAX. Whatever it is, whatever it's called.
Yeah, let me know, dude.
D-box. Yeah, you're right. No, yeah, no.
I want to smell the spice, dude. I want to get the blue eyes. I want to get
not D-box. The
40X.
40X. Yeah, the Avatar thing.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great. Do you think they just shoot sand in your eyes as you're watching?
Oh, I hope.
Someone just comes in and throws sand all over the floor, and it's really hot. They turn the air conditioning off, and
I hope.
They don't serve drinks.
That'd be great. You have to wear a fucking thing in your nose?
Yeah, you gotta drink your own sweat and pee,
I'm down.
Where were we?
We were talking about how Taylor Sheridan wrote Sicario.
So Sheridan has become a household name in recent years as the creator and writer of multiple ongoing successful TV shows, including Tulsa King, Mayor of Kingstown, Yellowstone, and Yellowstone spin-off shows 1883 and 1923.
Okay. Now I understand. I've not seen any of that stuff because I don't watch cable, but I know
But you know about it?
Yeah, Jeremy Renner's in Mayor of Kingstown, and he promotes the show all the time. Actually, I'm unsure how they're going to do the next season with him, being eaten by an escalator, but we'll see what's up.
So Taylor Sheridan busted onto the scene with Sicario and has only gone up from there.
Yeah,
and he gets big talent attached to his scripts. Like he's done an Angelina Jolie movie.
Which one?
For Those Who Would Wish Me Dead. I'm paraphrasing how I remember the title. It's something along those lines.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I really want to watch it though because it's about I believe Angelina Jolie is like a wildland firefighter who's being tracked by assassins. It sounds dope as hell, right up my alley.
It's tight.
I've been meaning to watch it for a while now. And then the biggest show ever, and it's a modern Dallas, essentially, Yellowstone. Everyone's dad has seen Yellowstone and loves it. It's the Kevin Costner show, which has a spinoff, 1883, which stars Harrison Ford.
Oh, really?
This guy gets talent, man.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And Chris Pine and Jeff Bridges being attached to this is huge too.
I would say, Jeremy Renner is a big get.
He is. Yeah. I mean, he was up to replace Tom Cruise and Matt Damon at different points in his life. So there was a point in Hollywood where he was the it guy.
Thank you for taking my joke and making it serious. I really appreciate it.
It's true.
You don't like him.
I don't love him.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't have an affection for him
like I do,
like you do. Exactly.
I love that man.
Yes,
I love that man.
It's not like me talking about Keanu.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
All right. Well, he's cool. I like his stuff. He's got good stuff.
He's a great writer.
Yes, he is.
He reminds me of Cormac McCarthy, but a little bit more mainstream, not as nihilistic.
Sure. Yeah.
Cormac McCarthy wrote. He's written several films. No Country for Old Men.
Okay. That's all I gotta say. I love that movie. That was an
adaptation of his book.
Yeah, that movie's so good.
But he may have had a hand in the screenplay.
Okay.
But he also wrote The Counselor, which is a Ridley Scott movie. Wild ass movie. I recommend you check it out.
Okay.
But anybody else, I don't know. It's a polarizing movie. It's pretty weird. There's some really good parts in it though that I think you would because you can watch a movie and be like, there were 3 or 4 scenes in that movie that I'm so glad I saw it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So.
We'll see,
yeah. I don't want to spoil it.
That's good.
So this movie had a $12 million budget, and it grossed $37.9 million. So
that's a small budget.
Yeah, no, this was kind of a shoestring film that was able to film. I think Chris Pine had like 2 weeks in between Star Treks, and they were able to get him in and do all his shoots.
That actually explains something for me. Yeah. Just keep going. Just keep going. We'll talk about everybody.
Okay. The film was incredibly well received by critics and maintains a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes.
As deserved. It's a good movie.
Yeah. Christopher Orr, reviewing the film for The Atlantic, wrote, Hell or High Water is a genre film that transcends genre, an iconic American tale that is nonetheless firmly grounded in both place and time. Eric Cohn, reviewing for IndieWire, wrote, Just as it taps into a dying corner of American society, Hell or High Water resurrects the power of Western mayhem done right. Hell or High Water received 4 nominations at the Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor for Jeff Bridges, and Best Original Screenplay, as well as Best Editing.
Okay.
And fun fact, the writer, Taylor Sheridan, has a cameo in the film as the cowboy that converses with Jeff Bridges as his cattle are being chased by the grass fire.
Oh, that's him.
That was him. You don't get a close-up of him, but he is on a horseback. Jeff Bridges pulls over to talk to him.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. That's him.
Yeah.
He's handsome.
Oh, yeah,
that's kind of crazy.
Good-looking dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Are you saying wood? Because I'm saying wood.
I think that's a big part of his personality too, is that he's so proud that he's a Texan with a big ranch.
Okay.
That is a good-looking, American man.
He absolutely is.
Not to deconstruct the writer right out the bat without barely talking about the movie, but
okay.
He's a good writer. He's very talented.
No, I like the stuff that he works on, especially Wind River. We're going to talk a lot about Wind River. Yeah, because that's a good ass. No,
we could do a Taylor Sheridan month.
Sign me up, dude. Wind River, Sicario. You pick 2 more, and we're good.
I can easily think of 2 more. Yeah. No, it'd be a banger.
Yeah, for
We'd
sure.
have to leave this one off though because we're covering it now.
I mean, it's fine. This one's in theme, and it's a very good movie. I think that it's an excellent way to end the month. Of financial crisis.
Right, and like Arizona, last week's film.
Yes.
The backdrop is the financial crisis hitting, a lot of people, and people, both the main characters and even auxiliary characters, not really having sympathy
for the people who are getting knocked over.
Right. They're kind of like, well, I'm kind of on the side of the person exacting vengeance on the banks or the real estate agent, but I feel like this movie does it more successfully.
Oh, 100%. It's more, it's rooted in realism, where you were having issues with the tension being undercut by comedy. In this one, there's little to no comedy. There is some comedy.
No, there's comedy. I'm laughing.
Yeah.
I'm laughing a lot.
But it's not at the expense of tension being built up.
It's not undercutting itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like there are real stakes here. You're concerned about a lot of the characters' well-beings.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, are they going to get away with it or not moments in the film.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to wait till the end of this episode to know. Both me and Jared would recommend this movie. I would to anybody who wants a good movie to watch, I would 100% recommend this to somebody.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it yet,
you probably should
go check it out because we're going to spoil it. And
and it's on Hulu.
This is a real banger.
Yes, this is a good movie.
I even just to give context for how much I like this movie. There was a recent 4K Steelbook release that I shelled out for because I was like, fuck it, I do like that movie. And it's an excellent Steelbook.
It's really good. You showed it to me. It's really cool.
I'm going to launch like a TikTok or an Instagram eventually where I just reveal Steelbooks every day.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll start advertising it on this podcast.
It's a good idea.
So you good with hitting the plot?
Yeah. So I mean, like this takes place in West Texas, and it's after 2012. So this is a little bit later than it's like 4 years after the Yeah. So
I didn't realize it was set that late.
It's in the scene where Chris Pine and Ben Foster are talking to that legal aid. I don't know if he's a lawyer.
I think he's an attorney. I think.
Sure.
Yeah, it's not explicitly stated.
Yeah, and he talks about what the banks were doing and the kind of the timeline, and he name drops, or not name drops, but he references after 2012. So that gives me the footprint of this. This is shortly after 2012.
Even though it is a Western, it doesn't feel like a period piece. So I wasn't sure how close to the crisis it's set or if it's actually set in 2016. I do think it's supposed to be modern, though, now that you mention it.
Yeah, and
like extremely modern, like to the year, But
Right. So the timeline of them being affected by the financial crisis and them getting to where they're at is roughly over 4 years. But I don't know where I was going to go with it.
Well, it took a long time. The financial crisis isn't something that happened overnight. Like it took years to really affect people, and markets didn't rebound for years. People's savings didn't rebound. People's jobs didn't just bounce back.
Yeah.
So it's understandable that like when we say the financial crisis of 2007, 2008, it can extend from 2006 to 2012 or even later. because it hurt people for so long.
Right.
You know, and it's easy to just put a pin on the exact year or just say it was at this point in time. But, like, you know, it affects everyone differently.
It had ripples.
Right. And it had ripples, you know, and much like, you know, if you weren't an adult at the time, you know, you definitely remember the how the pandemic affected the economy.
Yeah.
And we're still feeling the effects of that.
It's true.
You know, I mean, people are still getting laid off in mass numbers. You know, people are still struggling to find a job.
Mm-hmm. And then one other thing is whereas with the last episode we were taking revenge on the realtors, in this episode we're taking revenge on the banks themselves.
Yes, and ooh, how sweet it is!
It's very good.
It's yeah. I'll get into it when we finish the plot.
Yeah. And I'm sorry. One last thing.
Yeah.
Just the because this is right when the movie opens.
Yeah.
There's a quote on the side of a building that says,
"3 tours in Iraq, but no bailout for people like us." But yeah, that also struck me. But that opening scene, we should say, is great. There's a lot of great shots in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
The camera work is really impressive, especially with all the car work.
Yes.
There's lots of really good, just where we're following the two characters in a getaway car after they robbed a bank, and the camera is constantly pulling in and pulling away at the same time. So we're getting they're in a rush, they're driving away.
Yeah.
It's very excited, but also like the camera can reel in close enough that we hear their conversations.
That was one of my favorite shots.
Right. So the camera operator is clearly following in another
Yes.
car. It's incredible.
And it's seamless.
Yes, it's so good. Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about there. They pulled through like a driveway and turn on the road. And as they're turning on the road, boom, the camera and they sync up and it's almost like they're fucking perfectly in line. It's so good.
I'd have to guess there are two cars.
There has to be, yeah.
There's the driver car or the main car that the actors are in, and then there's the camera operator car, which can be very dangerous. And that's how, like, some people have died. Like, there was a camera operator that died on The Dark Knight doing that sort of thing.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. But it also could have been a single car with a crane pulling in and out, maybe. I'm not sure.
It was good.
But yeah, it's handled very effectively. And this opening scene, to come back to it, it's a panoramic view. It's the camera spins 360 degrees from one position, and we learn so much in that opening scene.
Yeah.
So we're seeing the bank teller coming into the bank and opening up for the day. We see Chris Pine and Ben Foster getting ready to rob it. We see the quote on the wall to set us up with people are fed up. Time and place, like there is a financial crisis has hit. People feel affected by it. They're aggravated that the banks were bailed out and normal people feel disaffected and left, to suffer.
Yep.
And when we see Chris Pine and Ben Foster run into the bank and hold up the teller, it's a great panoramic shot. It's so engrossing.
If I remember correctly, as it's spinning, you can see them scoping the place out in their car before they get out.
You see, I think they circle around in the blue IROC, which they only use it for the first two heists, but shouts outs to the IROC. I grew up in one. It was my mom's car when I was born.
Yeah.
So I grew up in an IROC. So when I see that, I think like, Southern lower middle class, like people.
Oh man, what a shot! It kind of evokes the shot from Spring Breakers. Another callback to
when they're robbing the chicken shack. Yeah,
you gotta love a good panoramic fucking
and
continuous
it's single
shot.
take. Yeah, because those are there's a lot of hubbub about how good like long takes or single takes are, but they are really engrossing and immersive.
Yes.
They really draw attention.
Yeah,
because when you're cutting away, from different scenes or different edits, it cuts the tension. But if you're able to make it one long shot, like you feel it. It feels longer. It feels more intense. It's a trick.
Yeah.
And there are ways to trick, oneers or long shots to feel like they're all one shot.
Clever ways to do cuts.
But it works. Like a really good recent example is Extraction 2, which does a lot of tricks.
Yeah, the train scene.
Right. But throughout the film, there are aping the Raid movies, I should say.
That's right.
But they're trying to make the fight scenes feel like they're one long take when they're really not.
Yeah.
But that builds tension. Like they feel... they're more impressive. They're more intense.
Same thing with 1917.
Oh, well, famously, that whole movie is built around the idea that it's one long take,
even
right?
though there's no way that...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Sorry.
Opening scene of the film.
Opening scene of the film. Yeah.
Lost my place.
And they're holding up the bank teller and... You get a lot of details of both of the characters almost immediately from
right,
this. Yeah.
just in that first scene.
Yeah.
In West Texas brothers Toby and Tanner Howard, played by Chris Pine and Ben Foster, rob 2 branches of the Texas Midlands Bank. Though the robberies are well planned, Tanner's wild nature leads him to take unnecessary risks, which frustrates Toby. Back at their family ranch, they bury their getaway car, the Blue Eye Rock,
Rest in peace,
in a pit with a backhoe. I wrote down while they're using the backhoe to bury the car.
Yeah,
a thought popped in my head, and I was thinking, so many more things in my life would be possible if I owned an excavator.
It's true.
So the brother's mother has died after a long illness, leaving their ranch in debt because of a reverse mortgage provided by Texas Midlands Bank.
Question on. I just want to stop you real quick. I don't understand what a reverse mortgage is. You explain it? All right,
I'll get into it. So the reverse mortgage is leading to a foreclosure, if not settled. Meanwhile, oil has been discovered on their land, and Toby is determined to ensure a comfortable life for his estranged family, his 2 sons, and his ex-wife.
Mm-hmm.
So really quick, a quick primer on reverse mortgage.
Yes. Thank you.
So it is what it sounds like on its face. Instead of getting a mortgage, which is where you get out a humongous loan, so that you can buy a house, and then you just you make monthly installments for 15 or 30 years.
Yeah.
Because the interest is so high. With a reverse mortgage, the bank uses your house or the equity you've earned in the house as the security for the loan. So you're essentially borrowing against your property or your house or the equity in said house, and then pays you in monthly installments. However, if you don't pay it off by the end, they own the house. So that's what's in jeopardy here.
Okay. That's weird.
That's my understanding of it. It's something they recommend to old people too, because
you're going to die one day.
When you're elderly,
yeah,
you need a monthly stipend, and maybe your retirement or pension, if you have one, mixed with Social Security, aren't cutting it.
Yeah.
So you can get a reverse mortgage because you probably own your home outright by then. And so what the bank does is they will give you a reverse mortgage, which are predatory still.
Okay, yeah. I mean, clearly.
And they can take away what can often, and what often is, the only type of wealth that middle class and lower middle class families have.
Yeah.
And can offer to their families.
Yeah.
Because often, and I don't think this is uncommon even for you and me, people in our family, someone dies and their kin inherit land or a house, and it is the biggest financial boon, at least in one step to their life at any point.
Yeah.
And maybe ever will be.
Yeah.
And that's just how, frankly, normal people
keep getting by.
Can inherit wealth or to pass on to their next generation.
Right.
And a reverse mortgage will undo that.
Okay.
And it's how the banks take that away from, lower and working class people, period. Really.
I gotcha. Good lesson to learn. It also seemed like that there was some other fuckery involved, because I think that the bank
there is.
Okay, so yeah, they found out that there was oil on the land, and I know that's a part of the plot, but I wasn't quite sure if I was just coming up with that or if that was actually explained in the text. So it's just like something you should not do, but somehow
unless you really need money and
okay,
your
financial advisor suggests that you do this or something,
or
like
your
that.
Children will be okay if they don't inherit your house.
Okay, yeah.
If you're okay basically selling your house over a long period of time.
That's wild, man.
Yeah, the homeowners or their heirs will eventually have to pay back the loan. They usually do so by selling the home. Yeah, so it's exactly what I thought.
Jesus Christ.
This sucks.
Yeah. All right. So excellent reason to be robbing banks.
Yeah, because Chris Pine expresses in the movie that his mom had to take out a reverse mortgage in order to live.
Yeah.
And he feels, disgruntled about it because they have learned that there's oil on the property.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can keep the property, they can turn around and sell the rights to the oil and live off of that money.
Yeah. But
the bank also knows this.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're getting the property at a steal.
Yeah, like $25,000.
I think that's the number floated. Yeah,
but they have to earn not just the $25,000, but $46,000 total because of all the extra garbage or whatever.
So that's the thing about a reverse mortgage is you're also incurring fees like taxes and principal on the loan.
Yeah.
So when the reverse mortgage is over, like, yes, you've been paid out every month, but you owe more than you've been paid. And people can usually finish that by just selling the home. That's what the bank is planning to do in this film. Again, yeah, reverse mortgages they're a desperate measure, it's not great.
Unreal. Okay.
Yeah.
Love to meet the guy who came up with that one.
Yeah. And I think it's like Tom Selleck or somebody that's on TV, like does like the infomercials where it's like, have you considered a reverse mortgage? It's like, shut the fuck, this sucks, man. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And back to the movie.
2 Texas Rangers, Marcus Hamilton and Alberto Parker, played by Jeff Bridges and
Gil Birmingham,
are assigned to the case. Hamilton, who is close to retirement, investigates the robberies and quickly determines the brothers' methods and personalities. Meanwhile, Tanner robs another bank while Toby is unknowingly waiting at a nearby diner. It's a great scene.
It's a good scene, yeah.
They then take the stolen money to an Indian casino in Oklahoma to be laundered, where Toby has the casino convert their gambling winnings into a check made out to the Texas Midlands Bank. With untraceable funds and gambling as cover for how they were acquired, the 2 brothers head back to Texas. Hamilton and Parker stake out another branch of the Texas Midlands Bank, but find nothing. They realize it's been closed. Hamilton figures a pattern to the bank robberies and determines the next target, and Parker and he head to the site of the next robbery. Pressed for time, the brothers proceed with the heist despite the bank being crowded. It's lunchtime and payday.
Yeah, and the only reason why it's credit too is because they tried a bank and
they were trying to rob all the banks early in the morning when no one's there.
Yeah, right when they open.
Yeah, because they don't want to hurt people, and B,
Toby doesn't want to hurt people.
Well, yeah, we should touch on that real fast because I didn't cover it in the synopsis here. Chris Pine's character Toby is very much like no one's supposed to get hurt, and he's very polite when he's robbing people. He's trying to control his brother Ben Foster because he gets a little carried away during the robberies and a little violent, and Chris Pine keeps trying to reel him in.
Yeah.
But they're trying to rob banks when there's only 1 or 2 people in there. However, when they hit this last bank
in post,
it's crowded because their plans have been set off by one of the banks they were supposed to hit that day being closed, and so they had to drive a really long distance.
Closed permanently.
Permanently as it's been locked up. So their plan is off, and the bank is crowded, unfortunately, and it goes awry. Pressed for time, the brothers proceed with the heist despite the bank being crowded. A shootout ensues with a security guard and an armed civilian that fire at the brothers. This causes Tanner to kill both of them. During the shootout, Toby is shot in the back. So before he realizes he's shot, you can actually see the blood.
Yeah,
when he's in the back of the Bronco.
It's like a red mist. You can barely catch it.
Oh, like when he's shot?
Yeah, when he's hopping into the Bronco, it's boom. It's blink and you miss it.
Fuck, I didn't know that. I thought he got shot inside the bank when the civilian gets up.
Literally, as he's hopping into the back, one of the guys across the street.
So you see like the blood packet.
You see the blood packet go.
Because I noticed when the camera is hovering over the Bronco, you can see blood on his back.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't realize it till way later in the scene.
Yeah.
The brothers race out of town with a local posse in pursuit. The Al-Qaeda, I called them.
Yeah, the Al-Qaeda.
After gaining some distance, Tanner stops and fires an automatic weapon at the posse. That was the heat moment, by the way.
Oh, I know. He just...
Yeah, he comes out with a fully automatic rifle, and he has been sitting there, like, prepping clips so that he can just fly through them and just unload as many bullets per minute as he can.
He's got the clips taped together upside down.
So he just flips them.
So cool.
That is a heat. That's a Michael Mann touch, I feel like.
Yeah.
After gaining some distance, Tanner stops and fires an automatic weapon at the posse with his fire superiority, forcing them to retreat. The brothers then split up. Toby takes the money using another vehicle, while Tanner creates a diversion. He draws the lawmen to a desert mountain range where he takes potshots at the police with a rifle, which kills Parker in the process. Distraught, Hamilton uses the local residents' knowledge of the area to circle behind Tanner and fatally shoot him. Great scene.
It's a great scene. Because the younger guy is like, I'll do it. And
right, because Jeff Bridges is out of breath.
He's old.
Because what is he playing? Like 60, mid-60s?
Mid-60s. He's retiring, so he's probably like 63,
easily,
64.
I think, yeah.
And the other guy's been chiding him the whole time. He's like, shut up, I'm going to take the shot.
both because he's a lawman.
Yes.
He feels obligated that he has to take the shot. He can't let a civilian do it. But
And then
also
his
because
partner
he's killed
died.
his partner.
Yeah.
And he's very upset about this.
Oh yeah, and then he kills Ben Foster and like
one single shot,
and he celebratory slaps the other guy.
Yeah,
the guy.
Oh, Courtney and I loved the way he just kind of hits him in the beard and then on the arm, and he just kind of sits there, and then he like kind of lets out a cry.
All the adrenaline's gone,
and a yelp at the same time.
Yeah, he's trying to mourn the loss of his
Right.
friend. Does more for his partner than Luke Skywalker ever did for his buddy, Biggs Darklighter.
Wow.
Childhood friend. Fuck you, Luke Skywalker.
Tell me how you really feel.
Piece of shit, dude. Anyways,
but yeah, that
seems good.
All of this happens in the span of like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Him slapping the guy and,
out of excitement,
and then just kind of crying and laughing at the same time is so good. Like there's Jeff Bridges got a lot of praise for this movie, and
I don't doubt it.
That scene alone is why, for sure.
He's fantastic in this film.
But then we also linger on a shot of Ben Foster having been killed, and he's slumped over his rifle.
Yeah,
and it's a good pose. Just the way he's slumped over, the rifle is pitted against the ground, and so he doesn't fall all the way over.
Yeah,
and then we see a rattlesnake.
Yeah,
slithering behind him.
What kind of symbology was that?
Yeah,
or symbolism was that? I did it again. I'm
not going to pull the Boondock Saints quote,
all, yeah.
But you could argue it's a little on the nose. Like, there was a humongous fight on film Twitter years ago about the rat running across the apartment in The Departed at the end.
Oh my!
When the quote unquote rat is murdered in that movie. Yeah, I know. I'm not going to get into it, but it does feel maybe a little on the nose.
Okay, I understand. I get it now.
But I liked it though.
I did too. I mean, like
we love the symbolism.
You could argue that the rattlesnake was going to get him. I mean, he was the king of the prairie, but the snake could have gotten him.
Yes, but the way I look at it is he is the rattlesnake.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
yeah. But
he's a Comanche. He's enemy to all.
Yeah.
Anyways, keep going.
I'm going to touch on that later.
Oh, dude, I've got plenty of stuff too. Yeah,
great. Simultaneously, Toby, Chris Pine's character, manages to pass through a police checkpoint without incident and launders the stolen cash at a casino where he sees the news report of his brother's death. He takes the casino's check to the bank just in time to avoid the ranch's foreclosure and deeds the ranch into a new family trust. Following his retirement, Hamilton visits his former office, and learns that Toby has been cleared as a suspect, as his record is clean and he has no motive since the new oil wells earn more in a month than the stolen total of all the robberies together. The money from the ranch's oil wells is deposited at the Texas Midlands Bank, which refuses to cooperate with the investigation for fear of losing management of the family's trust fund. Despite the lack of evidence, Hamilton remains certain that Toby was indeed the second bank robber. Hamilton confronts Toby at the ranch and wishes to know the reason behind the robberies. Toby explains that he has resolved to not let poverty affect his sons like it affected Tanner and him. Hamilton tells Toby that he holds him responsible for the death of his partner Parker, and the tension in their conversation builds as a clear prelude to an impending violent shootout. They are interrupted, though, when Toby's ex-wife and children arrive. As Hamilton departs, Toby suggests they meet again soon to finish the conversation, and that maybe I'll give you peace.
Maybe I'll give you yours.
Hamilton replies that he would like to meet Toby again and that maybe I'll give it to you.
Yeah. What a good way to end. And it ends, the camera pans down.
It just pans into the grass. As the credits roll.
Yeah.
It never cuts away from the grass. It's great. Yeah. It's a great... I love when a movie gives us not a static shot, but just a single...
frame to hold on to.
And something within the scene, to focus on as it's going out. It's very nice.
I love this movie. This movie's so good. So much like Arizona, I actually watched this film during the pandemic. I kind of
for the first time.
Yeah, for the first time, it was on HBO Max. I was like, I don't know, this sounds interesting. I'll fucking put it on. And I'm like, God damn it, this movie's good.
Yeah, it's a incredible character study.
Yeah,
of Texans essentially.
Yeah.
Ben Foster
is electric.
Yeah, he gets off a lot of really good lines too. Like he's drinking one night between bank robberies with Chris Pine, and Chris Pine is like, listen, I need you sober to this, and he says, "Who the hell gets drunk off a beer?"
My favorite quote from Ben Foster was, "Only assholes drink Mr. Pibb." To which
I took so much issue with that.
I would say, to which I respond, I guess I'm an asshole.
Listen, Dr. Pepper is one of the best sodas. Mr. Pibb is fine.
Yeah, I really do like Pibb Extra.
When I'm at this, that's only Pibb Extra now. Yeah. There's no Mr. Pibb original. If I'm at a restaurant and I ask for Dr. Pepper and they say,
well, Mr. Pibb,
Pibb, I'm like, that's fine. Yeah, it's still good.
There's nothing wrong with it.
It's a Dr. Thunder. It's better than Dr. Thunder.
Yeah, Dr. Thunder can go to hell. Only
they
assholes.
Got Winn-Dixie in Texas.
Only
right?
assholes drink Dr. Thunder.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Ben Foster doesn't get enough fucking work.
Yeah,
I love this guy.
I'm so glad they cast him. Apparently, a big reason why he got cast in this is because he's good friends with Chris Pine. Like, they really hit it off on a previous movie that they were in together.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
I want more movies with them as a duo.
Yeah, that'd be great.
It doesn't need to be a sequel to this, obviously, but make another, fun but tragic, crime adventure movie with them. Like, they would be great.
Yeah, they would. The movie that I think of anytime I see Ben Foster on the screen is Pandorum. Have you ever seen Pandorum?
I have.
Yeah, he's the main guy in Pandorum.
I need to rewatch that movie.
It's very good.
That's okay. Real fast.
Yeah.
Small spoilers for Pandorum. Isn't that the movie where I think it's Dennis Quaid?
Yeah.
Thinks that he's become a nihilist because he thinks that all of space is blown up because he looks out the ship, and
he sees darkness,
and it's all darkness, and he's like, all the stars are gone. We're lost. We're alone in space. And they later learn that it's because they're underwater.
Yeah.
What a cool reveal,
dude! That was a good ass.
I need
movie.
to rewatch that movie. Yeah. I remember being like, "This is really trying good. A lot." Yeah.
Yeah.
My other favorite Ben Foster line. They're at a gas station, and he goes, "You want me to get you something?" He goes, "Dr. Pepper and Winston Lights."
It's the same fucking scene. I forgot. Yeah, he says that. Yeah.
That scene at the gas station.
It's so good.
There's lots of little scenes like this, but that scene at that gas station in particular.
Yeah.
I've been there. I've been at that gas station.
Oh, yeah, same. It's like
seen
down the
people.
road.
Yeah. There's 1,000 of them in this county alone.
Yeah, easily.
I've never been to Texas. I've been there.
Yeah.
I know who these people are. I know what's happening. I know the guy that pulls up in the lime green Camaro blasting.
What the fuck is he listening to?
It's like a mix of screamo metal and rap all in one.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Because it's not new metal.
No, it's not.
I don't even know who it is.
Yeah, me either.
But it's a little bit of Cold Chamber. It's a little bit of a screamo band.
Yeah.
And then there's like some rap in there too.
It sounds like fucking garbage.
But it's a great track to pull for an obnoxious asshole at a gas station.
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
You just know immediately who that guy's supposed to be, and then Ben Foster tries to pick a fight with him by just staring at him, and the guy goes, "What the fuck are you looking at, asshole?" And then he just looks at him and goes, "Boy, you'd think there were 10 of me." Great fucking line. And of course, the guy pulls a gun on him and just starts flashing it around. Chris Pine comes out of the gas station, immediately sees what's happening, and just beats the absolute ever-loving shit out of the guy.
It's almost the only time in the movie where Chris Pine loses his cool.
Yes. Well, and he's doing it to protect his brother,
Yes.
and because he sees a potentially bad situation,
Yeah.
and has no remorse for the guy. He
Yeah.
doesn't kill him, but he beats the ever-loving shit out of him, and it appears to be deservedly so.
It's the only time he shows actual violence in the entire film. He's trying to hold Ben Foster back, and this is the only scene where Ben Foster is completely cool and in control of whatever it is he was doing.
He does kind of instigate it.
He instigates
and Chris
it,
Pine does derive him as they're driving away for
Yeah.
like, hey, listen, you can't be getting into shit with these people,
Yeah, but like at the same vein of things, he's just sitting there. He's not doing his normal song and dance of get the fuck down, everybody on their knees, shit like that. He's just kind of giving the stink eye.
I'm of two minds of that scene though.
Yeah.
With Chris Pine, enacting violence on the guy. Number one, maybe it's to show us that Chris Pine is capable of violence.
Yes,
when
that
needed to be.
That is what I got from it.
And also, he can be protective of his brother
Yeah.
as needed. But also, is this just like a wish fulfillment scene? Is this just like, this is what every guy who's ever been annoyed at a gas station like wants to do? Because like, I was at a gas station today where someone was blasting music as I'm pumping gas, and I'm like, dude, we're all miserable here. Like, it's 96 degrees outside.
It's hot as fuck.
There's
today.
a dead animal in the trash can at the gas pump. Like, can you not like
Shit.
blast the music for everyone? Like, no one wants to hear that. Like, just turn it down, But anyway.
So are we just gonna do like musings here?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've hit a lot of mine, but did you recognize the young teller at the
She's
bank?
from Prey, baby.
Yeah, she is. It's Amber Midthunder.
I've got that written down right there.
Yeah, she's the lead character in Prey. She's also in that the TV show about the guy with the multiple personalities, and it turns out to be an X-Men show. God, what is that show called?
Turns out to be an X-Men show?
Yeah, it's a good show. Legion.
Ah, yeah. Okay,
so
okay.
you can. I don't think you realize it's an X-Men show until like the end of season 1.
Yeah.
So small spoilers, but it's been out for years. But yeah, he's basically. Oh, it's named after the character from the X-Men comics that he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like he's an X-Man, and it like never really comes up until way later in the show.
That's tight.
But Amber Midthunder's in that as well, and she's excellent in that.
She's a very good actress, and we will eventually do Prey.
Oh, we're working our way to it for
fucking
sure.
love Prey. So one way that this movie gets you in the mood, or not in the mood, but like sets the stage for how everybody's feeling during this, time in our history, is they have lingering shots on debt relief billboards.
Yes.
All over the place. I thought it was really
There's
interesting.
a lot of driving in this film because they're driving, between
Wherever
towns in
and wherever,
Texas,
yeah.
and they're very far away because everything in Texas is far away. And we're constantly getting scenes of dilapidated homes and lower middle class neighborhoods, and then like you said, the billboards offering debt relief because there was a lot of these like scammy, stupid things out there at the time. And honestly, they're still out there.
Yeah, they're
today.
still out there. It doesn't feel like it's as prevalent.
Right. It was really big immediately after the financial crisis.
Yeah. People in this movie, or some people in this movie, certainly do not like those citizens south of the border.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtle and not so subtle racism in this movie.
Yeah.
And
do you think that was to make us like root the people in the film in realism, or do you think that
that's a good point? Go ahead.
No, I'm just like I don't really know what the point of it of putting that in there, because so the first time that we have something like this is when the duo rob the second bank, and there's a guy in there and clearly he's armed, and before that he's like very happy, found some coins, he's having a nice conversation with the bank teller, and everything's good. And then when they show up, it's not that he's code switches or anything. He's still kind of being like polite, following orders, trying not to instigate any animosity between the two. But as he's like disarmed and Ben Foster jumps on the counter to get the money, he makes an off-color reference. It's like, y'all aren't even Mexicans. Or only Mexicans do shit like this.
No, I remember the line, y'all aren't even Mexicans.
Yeah,
and I wasn't sure if he says it then or if he says it later when he's being interviewed by
he
police.
says it to the two of them.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
And so it's like, wow, this old guy's racist,
Oh, yeah.
And fucking Jeff Bridges' character is constantly saying some fucking rude shit to his partner.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme in this movie that Jeff Bridges' character is, if not racist himself, he's making racist remarks throughout the whole movie
to his partner.
He thinks they are innocent barbs, but it's clearly
it's
clearly hitting his partner hard, and he hates it.
Yeah,
he never
says like, could you fucking stop?
No, and I feel like maybe it's because he feels like he has to yield to his partner, who was more senior over him, and he's about to retire, so he's like, I can put up with this guy for just a few more weeks, and I'll never have to see him again.
I think it's shot in the fucking head. What an injustice!
That's the thing. But again, the text can be subtext. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it doesn't need to be laid out there. It might be my own. I might be projecting, but I do feel like when Jeff Bridges sees him dead, he's offended that it's him and not himself being shot.
Yeah,
he would have, because he
much
makes multiple statements throughout the movie.
Yeah.
That he thinks he's going to die before he gets to retire. I think
almost
he
looking
almost
forward to
verbatim says, I'm going to go in a shootout with someone that I'm going to try to outsmart one day. And I think when he sees that it's his partner, he thinks it's so unfair because his partner, his wife is still alive.
He's religious.
He's a bit younger. He's religious, which, Jeff Bridges chides him for, but clearly I think Jeff Bridges would rather have been the one that gets shot.
Yeah.
And
He's
lets
very
out
undeserving.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, he doesn't reflect on that. We only see him emoting, and it's brief. But that's kind of the beauty of it, is that he is a reserved man that is letting out a yelp of emotion.
Yeah, I think there's two instances where it hits him. First, when his partner does get shot in the head, he's suffering from a little bit of shock.
Right, and he
that's like a panic.
He
thing.
cries out too, and then he tries to drag the body over, but he realizes it's kind of fruitless, and then he starts chasing off the posse that's driving up. Yeah.
Because he now realizes
he's kicked back into law enforcement.
Well, not
mode,
just that, but that Ben Foster's character is absolutely willing to kill people, and he has no regards for any person that he's shooting at.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that, I think that the situation becomes way more real instantly. Yeah. And then after he takes out Ben Foster, it's that he is now given time to take the emotions that he had just compartmentalized and feel them. But yeah, that was just something silly kept fucking doing in the movie, and Gil never tells him to stop.
Well, there's even auxiliary characters throughout the movie that kind of make remarks that feel racist. I'm struggling to remember
who else
more of them than just the one that you referenced, where he's like, "Y'all ain't even Mexicans."
Yeah.
But like even the guys at the diner that don't want to give up descriptions of them,
right?
Because clearly they are the bank robbers, and Jeff Bridges goes in to interview a bunch of people, and they don't want to. They just basically say, "Oh, they look like cowboys." They were young, scrawny white guys, and they don't want to give too much away because they feel affiliated with them.
Yeah.
I think. But they also make a remark about, I watched him rob a bank that's been robbing me my whole life, so why should I be upset?
And so I don't think that those guys were making racist remarks, but absolutely the other offhanded comments were about the banks, like and those guys,
which is great color. It's filling in.
Yeah, even Jeff Bridges makes comments about the banks and how they're fucking over
when he's sitting outside that the T-bone steak diner later.
Yes,
and he's talking to his partner about how well, I think his partner first says like this town is dying. There's nothing here. And he's like, oh, these people have been here for 150 years. And, but there's a point made between them about how
nothing lasts forever.
Right, and
there's always gonna be somebody that's gonna take something from you.
Right,
whether by force or through not coercion, but like.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you. You just reminded me.
Yeah.
What instigates the conversation is his partner, who is Nate. He's part Comanche.
Yeah.
And he says that like hundreds of years ago, this was my people's land for thousands of years, and then the white man came in and
these
killed us and took it away from us.
These people's grandparents took this from us.
Yeah, he took it away from us, and then he's like, and now the banks are coming in and doing it to the white people, and it's like, oh. That struck.
Yeah.
Man, that hit. That was a good line.
It was a good line. It was a good thingy.
Chris Pine is really dreamy in this.
Oh, I actually wrote that down. I was like, all the where did I write it down? Right. All the ladies want Chris Pine.
I mean, I don't blame them.
Yeah.
There's so many scenes of him just looking sad and miserable, but he's just looking away wistfully through like his bangs.
Yeah, and his piercing blue eyes are like really brought out with, I guess, the background color being kind of drab. It's
and his face just being very dark,
sullen,
and he's got a multiple days, if not weeks, of beard growth. That's not a full beard. He's got a mustache, which my wife remarked on, was like, "Whoa, mustache!" But then by the end of the movie, she was like, "Oh no, it's working on him."
But that's very true.
But yeah, I feel like this movie has a weird relationship for how it treats Native people. It's doing that thing, because you can tell it's written by a white guy, because it's doing that thing where there's a lot of like racist remarks thrown out about Native people, but it's shown to be like coming from an ignorant person.
Yeah.
But then like the two Native people that have lines in the film, at least about their ancestry, because Amber Midthunder again is in this movie, but
she doesn't say anything.
That's never brought up. There's a guy in a casino who I think is unnamed.
He does. They didn't say his name, but
Ben Foster
calls him Chief.
Yeah, and that sets him off, and they get into it. But they have like a mutual respect, because he's like, you know what Comanche means? And he means enemy of everyone. And Ben Foster goes, well, then that makes me Comanche. And then they have like a mutual respect for each other now.
Because this guy's obviously troubled, and he's like striking out at the world, and you know.
Yeah, and he's telling the guy that he identifies with that, you know, but it's
also kind of ignorant.
Yeah, because it's giving that like
he's literally doing a cultural appropriation. Noble savage thing.
That and the like, the noble native man, you know, it's like creating this false ideal of natives, because I feel like I'm not one to speak on this because I am.
Neither of us are.
I have a native ancestry in my family, but I
wouldn't know.
Don't consider myself enough to be counted as one.
Yeah.
So I don't want to speak for those people or anything, obviously.
Right.
But there is that in media, there is the idealization of either the noble savage, you know, that is a trope, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then there's also the complete opposite of it, where they are a villain, because in many westerns, you know, it's cowboys and Indians. Indians are the bad guys. They're you know,
Bone Tomahawk comes to
killing
mind.
people. Oh well, we're gonna talk about that guy one day, because the guy that wrote that made that movie.
Oh yeah, he's a shitty person or something like that.
Huge like alt-right guy, like big
conservative,
and it bleeds into all his movies.
What a bummer.
But they are well-made movies. Like he's a talented filmmaker. Have you seen Dragged Across Concrete?
No,
it's
I
another
haven't.
one of his films. Anyway.
He's using his power for evil. What a bummer.
Anyway, I'm getting
so
far
too
away
far
from
out.
my original point. But yeah, I feel like it handles it well, but in a way that you can tell it's written by a white guy, essentially, is my point.
No, I got you.
It's maybe trying to speak on themes of native people, but I don't think it's doing it that successfully.
I'm genuinely interested in your opinion on Wind River when we watch it, because the Native American characters and culture is like front and center in that movie.
I'm excited to watch it, but I will definitely watch it with a critical eye.
Right on.
How good is that line? Okay,
which line?
We've gone on about a lot of Ben Foster's lines, but when they get into that casino, I think the first time, and they ask for a room, and Ben Foster starts hitting on the concierge immediately. And he just turns the charm up to 11, because it's shocking that you've only seen him have bad interactions with people.
Be a violent person, yeah.
Right, and get into conflict. But when they're greeted by the concierge, he immediately turns on the charm.
Yeah.
And he starts...
No, ma'am, I'm so sorry. I did not...
we do not have prior arrangements with your establishment. And she goes, oh, you look like trouble. And he goes, ma'am, in your last days in a nursing home, you're going to think of me and giggle.
Yeah.
Good line.
Good line.
I've never been so charmed by somebody that I really shouldn't have been, especially, you know.
Ben Foster of all people, too. But, and then I think that they ended up hooking up, because,
I think it's almost the next scene.
Yeah,
we see they're having sex on the bed next to Chris Pine as Chris Pine's rolled over trying to ignore them.
Yeah, I would say, can you imagine fucking someone next to your brother? Because I certainly cannot.
Good God. Yeah, you think they could get 2 rooms with all the money they're stealing.
I know, right? Now they got it. It's all planned out. They have to think small.
Because they have a very set amount that they have to earn to
Last thing that I was thinking about, and I liked about this movie, like another comedic bit in a way, but it was also in a serious way. You don't rob banks in Texas. Because everybody's got a gun.
Right.
Everyone is
and
on.
it happens multiple times where they get shot at, especially with the last one. Yeah, because they walk out of that bank in
under
a firefight.
Serious fire,
yeah.
I'm curious, like, what the fuck are the laws for posses? Because, like, they were getting chased down by, like, fucking eight SUVs. And everybody had, like, a hunting rifle or a shotgun. It was actually really funny. So I was genuinely curious what the laws are there for vigilante justice. Because even though the guy who took Jeff Bridges to the Ridge was like, I'll have him field dressed and on my hood in 30 minutes, to a lawman.
Yeah. Much earlier in the film, at the scene of the first bank robbery, Jeff Bridges is approaching the bank, and
and a guy's like
pulls up in a large pickup truck, and says, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, the bank was robbed." And he was like, "Really?" And he's shocked, and he's like, "I can't believe someone would rob a bank around here. Well, find me a tree, I'd hang him." And he's
That's
like,
right, yeah.
I love West Texas. And it's like, part of me, I'm not sure if the movie is trying to poke at how a lot of these Texas guys kind of talk and act tough.
There's no way,
but
because you told me that the writer is a proud Texan
and plays one of these guys.
Yeah, so
exactly,
I'm very
in
like
the film. Yeah.
I don't know if it's
and they're not shown to be fools or anything. It's just kind of remarked upon as like this is the character of the town.
Yeah, I do like that this movie did bust the myth of a good guy with a gun almost immediately.
Yeah, because that bank robbery would have gone smoothly and no one would have been hurt if
that dude did not
want
to be a hero.
The security guard and the guy with the
security
gun,
guard was doing his job. No, you don't think this isn't a case of?
I've never been a security guard, but I'm not sure if they're actually supposed to intervene because the bank's money is insured.
Oh, that's true.
I don't think the bank wants a shootout either.
Okay.
Like if he needs to return fire, he can return fire. But
Yeah.
I don't think they're supposed to just do what he does. He comes out of the corner just firing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think security guards are supposed to do that.
Okay. Well, this is Texas, so we do things a little different.
Understandable. That's, what? This is a stand your ground state. It's an open carry state. You're allowed to put down whoever you want.
Do you think that Jeff Bridges and Chris Pine's character meet up later on and have a shootout?
Absolutely. Yeah. There's no other way that's going to end. Yeah, and Jeff Bridges is going to do it sooner than later because he's probably worried he doesn't have much time left on the earth.
That's true. And he did remark that he wanted to do it previously. You know what? They definitely had one because he wanted to outsmart him. That's true.
The beauty of this ending is that we don't see it. It's implied that it's inevitable, though. And it's to let it linger. I think is really nice, and it's like a Coen Brothers movie where they just kind of cut it off. Because you can just assume where it's going to go from there. And that was a huge frustration of mine with their films for a long time. And then as you get older, you earn a better appreciation for that sort of thing.
And then last thing that I've got, and I keep hitting this fucking wire here.
Okay.
I always fidget with this fucking thing.
I'm bad about it too. And I get to a point where I don't allow myself to do it. You know what I mean?
So last thing I wanted to say, I'm curious who the location scouter was, because they definitely found towns and places that looked like businesses that closed down.
Yep.
There wasn't a lot of people living there, and they also got a really good shot of what modern Americana is versus what it used to be.
Right.
Is a very good dichotomy shot where there's a shot of what it looks like whenever you're on one of the interstate roads, and you're going over a road that leads into a town, and all you see is 2 lanes, a shit ton of poles, and all the different fast food restaurants and gas stations.
And famously, it's a meme on the internet of what city is this?
Yeah.
And where you see just like a snapshot of the highway, and you just see like all the gas stations, fast food restaurants and shit. And the joke is that this is every city in America. No cities just don't have character anymore. Everything looks like this because of how capitalism has just run rampant in this country. And it's disgusting.
So, but they have that shot, and then immediately they cut to Jeff Bridges and Gil Birmingham driving to Post, where the last bank is going to be robbed, and you see this beautiful shot of the mesas. The field with a bunch of plants that are, not browned. They're I don't know if they're not blooming, but they're green. It's lush.
Right.
And this is what you think about when you think about the West or,
well, I think
nature.
To your point, a lot of the towns that they're shown robbing the banks in that are dilapidated and are, on the downswing after the financial crisis, presumably. It's implied anyway. Mimic old Western towns.
Yeah.
I think that's the beautiful poetry of it, because it's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah. Never going to go away.
But
any chance we can get, it's going to be in there.
But and it's trying to mimic, because this is it's a modern Western.
It's a modern Western.
But in doing that, by showing these,
so good.
It's incredible.
I love that.
But in doing that, yeah, it's mimicking an old Western. It's like your old Western towns where it's full of buildings that aren't exactly inhabited, or they're still so new that they're not.
But I get it. I understand. It's the last gasp of
a dying town. Yeah.
Before it, inevitably gets destroyed and urbanized and has a Taco Bell, a McDonald's, a Panda Express,
and
a 7-Eleven.
So that town that we see that you're talking about, though, that's implied to be the most industrious town we see in the film.
Yeah.
Because it's the most happening bank, too.
Yeah, there's fucking 34 people in there.
Right. And we see a Chevron and a Taco Bell and all that shit you're talking about. But that's to tell you, like, this is what's considered a successful town.
Yeah.
And it has no character.
Nope.
It's just full of corporations.
Yeah. So, but those were my musings, the things that I wrote down on the about the movie.
So, Will, let's reflect. Let's take this last episode of the month to reflect on financial crisis month in general.
Yeah.
I feel like the 4 films we chose are great and yet separate reflections of what that time period, how it happened, but with The Big Short, and then what that time period felt like, but with Arizona and Hell or High Water.
Yeah. It was 99 Homes, man.
99 Homes also is how this affected people, the majority of people, not the bankers and so on and so forth.
No, not those people.
Which is what it was like to be a working class person at that time. And either, if it wasn't you, it was people you knew, or your family, your neighbors, things like that. It was just a very important, pivotal time in American history.
Modern history, our history growing up.
World history. It did affect the world.
This is true.
Largely, it's thought of as an American thing. And you and I, in particular, were becoming adults right as this happened.
We were both entering the workforce.
Yes.
Or at least I know.
We were exiting high school and entering the workforce as this happened.
Yeah.
A very weird time to do so.
I'm genuinely shocked that I do not know anybody in my family or my immediate family that was affected by this. Granted, my dad does not live in a home, and whatchamacallit, we did live with my aunt for a bit before we moved into our own place, but this was before the housing crisis. So I don't know anybody in 2008 and onward that was being negatively affected by the impacts. My family had jobs. Everybody had a job. I got a job immediately. It wasn't a great job, but it was better than having nothing and being homeless, and it's wild to think how so many people were affected by this, lost their jobs, lost their homes, dealing with their
savings, their retirement.
Yeah, all of that stuff. It's nuts to think that this affected so many people, and I got incredibly lucky to dodge it, And that's when we were talking about The Big Short, that's what I was getting at when I asked you, did you know anybody? Mm-hmm. Did it affect your, anybody that you knew, and whatnot? Because it didn't. It wasn't something that really caught my attention.
Yeah.
And hopefully somebody listens to this and hits me up and is like, has their own personal stories. I would love to hear, what, if your family went through something or what have you. And I'd love to hear your story on how you got through it, because, not a lot of people did.
Yeah.
Or no, some people definitely didn't. Some people just.
That's why I was more than happy to do this theme this month, because I think it's important to remember how delicate our system is.
Yeah.
Because our society, America in particular, is not designed with a lot of safety nets for working class people.
Yeah, people like me and you.
Exactly. And everyone listening, honestly.
Yeah, probably.
I think the pandemic, once again, was another reminder, because I was never more afraid than I was, in those first few months.
Yeah.
And it had its effect on me.
Yeah.
I got laid off, and it completely changed the trajectory of my life.
Yeah, man, I
didn't mean to get that heavy.
No, it's good. It is a very easy way to draw parallels.
Yeah.
Between what happened and then what happened now.
Exactly.
Because, you know, we are more established in the 2020s rather than, you know, the 20-aughts. And
you and I personally.
Yeah, me
not
and you.
Society
Yeah. No, not
large.
society.
Yeah.
No. And like, yeah, in that instance.
But we had
like,
more to lose too.
Yeah, my dad was on furlough
Yeah.
during that time, and you know, considered taking a job at an Amazon warehouse. And this man is in his 60s. He wasn't going to survive that.
Yeah.
And so I was genuinely concerned about how he was going to do, to the point where I was like, "Fuck it, Dad. I'll fucking pay you to like do lawn services just so that you don't have to take a terrible job in order to survive." You know, me personally, through the pandemic, did fine. You know. Although I will say I was stressed out every single day because I didn't stop going to work. Yeah. I worked every fucking day.
That was the thing that affected me, was I wasn't sure if I should just pick up a job or I have a face-to-face customer interactions all day, every day.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to get COVID and then bring it home and start spreading it to my friends and family.
Yep.
You know, so it was a very delicate time. You know, it was, you were racked with so many fears.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, and luckily there was some financial assistance that went around.
Yeah.
Granted, it
wasn't enough.
Severely flawed and limited
in
our state, but that's for another podcast for another time.
Get that water.
I would love to go on and on about Florida's
pandemic response. You know, we stayed open and
we never closed.
And the only thing that died of COVID in this state was woke.
It was locked up in the shed with Grimace, and then
and Grimace committed grimacide on the woke. Anyways, what did you learn anything after watching these 4 movies? Because fuck, man, I learned so much.
Yeah, particularly from, it was nice to revisit The Big Short.
Yeah,
because as much as I think I understand the financial collapse, and even after having seen that movie for a second time, I still feel like I think I got it.
Yeah.
But did I really? I don't know. I'm afraid to listen back to that episode because I know I tried to explain it and I'm so nervous that I'm going to listen to it and just cringe and be like, oh, I should have just read something instead of just like off the top of my dome.
You did fine.
Okay. Well, fine. I can't wait till it releases and people can tell us how stupid I sound.
We both are. Yeah.
But it was nice to revisit that and to revisit how bankers, you know, the banks and everything just fucked us so royally and the government did nothing. And it's like, oh, hey, that happened all over in 2020 between the COVID response and the PPP loan fraud.
Oh, yeah. And I love that those people are hooting, hollering, cheering that that student loans are not getting forgiven.
Oh, yeah. And now a bunch of Supreme Court decisions have come out and we're losing more rights. And
the elite are perfectly fine taken care of, and it is us, the average workers, the backbone of America, that get fucked again. It's fucking stupid. I'm fucking over it.
If you learn nothing from this month, you can learn that, you know, it is an eternal tale, especially in our capitalist society, but you are being fucked by the rich. It's
awful.
Yeah. But like the divine right of kings, you know, it seems inevitable, but it will one day end.
Oh, is that a threat? Are you threatening to put a bunch of rich people in a submarine to go see the Titanic?
Or a guillotine, whichever's fastest.
Yeah. So some things that I learned what a reverse mortgage was, and I'm never going to do that.
Oh, please no.
I learned about adjusted rates for mortgages. Another thing you should not do. Oh my God.
Those are really good points. I'm glad you're bringing up specific things.
Fucking crazy. That shit's unreal. And then CDOs. Like learning about all these things and then watching those things come up in the other 3 movies that we
at least touched on, if not fully remarked on in each movie.
Yeah, it's unreal. It's fucking crazy that all this shit exists and is legal. It blows my mind.
Yeah. I think 99 Homes was a great exploration of how the actual foreclosure and eviction process works too.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I think my biggest takeaway from that movie was I think it was beneficial to see that reflected on film, because it's not something that's covered.
Nope.
You know, ever. I think that was because the director himself was like, I wanted to make this movie because this is something that has happened to a lot of people, It's happened almost everyone knows somebody that's happened to, but it's just not, shown. It's not covered, in fiction. And we would like to depict that, and it was visceral. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
It's an awful thing.
Yeah. It's not good.
Yeah. But I'm very proud of this month. I thought it was a great theme. This was your idea. I want to give you full credit.
Thank
for
you.
This.
I appreciate that.
Great idea.
It was honestly, I think what happened was we were talking about something. I think
we were brainstorming months, and you just out of the blue said financial crisis month, and I sat there and was like rolling it over, going, "Yeah."
It was honestly inspired by Arizona. Wow. It was inspired by Arizona, and you talking about Adam McKay's
Big Short
interest in Enron
because of the other guys.
Yes,
the ending of the other guys that bleeds into I think the rest of his filmography, because he transitions from like I went at this at length in that episode.
Yeah, it was those two things that was like, let's just do this.
Yeah,
because I think it'll be fun.
Yeah,
and now that we've done themed months, I think that we're just gonna go back to like just picking a few things, and then maybe we'll go back and do more themed months. Because like talking about this movie right here, Ben Foster's in a film called 3:10 to Yuma, which is a Western. This movie is also a Western. So I was
almost bought the steelbook for that like yesterday.
I wouldn't. Did you like 3:10 to Yuma?
I haven't seen it.
Okay. So I was
the
thinking,
one with Christian Bale?
Yeah, I was thinking to myself, let's do a Western month where we watch Western movies, because I've got some suggestions. And if you're interested in that, let us know. That'd be fucking cool.
If you have suggestions, fucking write in.
Yeah,
dog.
we'll watch the movie and
email us. You know the email. It's podcast@debaserpod.com. You know the Addy. Hit us up. Give us some suggestions.
Yeah.
We'll credit you if you want.
Yeah, we'll tell you.
If you want to remain anonymous, that's fine too.
I don't know if I told you my boss did message me. He was like, "Hey, thanks for the shout out." I'm like, "Thanks for listening, buddy."
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
So make sure that you've got a nest egg. Make sure that you're making wise financial decisions. Make sure that you have at least $4,000 in savings, right? It's what's the saying? You're like $1,000 emergency away from destitution or some shit.
Oh yeah, I think the statistic that I used to see for years, and this was pre-pandemic, so it's probably worse.
Yeah,
was most Americans are like $100 or $1,000 away from, being destitute, essentially, like from extreme poverty. It's I don't have the statistic in front of me, but we're all closer to the edge than you realize. So number one, have empathy for other people less fortunate than you.
Yeah.
Please, like, stop punching down,
let's all punch up.
Yeah. Don't get angry at the guy begging, for change outside the McDonald's. Don't get angry at the guy sleeping, person sleeping on the bench in the park. Like,
go to Wall Street and punch a banker.
Shut the fuck up and punch your boss in the face and say, "Fuck you, pay me." You know what I mean? Like, go to your CEO and say, "Why do you get to make 100 times what I make? Show me that you're doing the work."
Yeah.
Like,
why are you allowed to ruin Twitter? That's my job, and I do it for free, even though I don't actually do it at all. But hopefully, our dear listeners, you have also learned something from this, whether you remember the times in which this all happened, whether or not you were affected by it. Hopefully this helped you understand a nice blip on modern history.
Yeah. How we got to where we're at, and hopefully we don't repeat it, but
probably
looking at the people in charge. And the regulations that
don't
were
exist.
not applied. Yeah.
All right.
Well, folks, thank you for listening. You can find our show on social media by searching for @DebaserPod. I'm Jared Rusk, and you can find me on Twitter @JaredSRusk. Will, where can people find you, and would you like to plug anything?
It's only Instagram. It's only pocket_infinity, and that's it. Plug the show.
Hell yeah, brother.
Tell your friends.
Listen to Debaser tell your friends.
Yes,
it's a good time.
I was telling you earlier, but some one person that I played one game of Warhammer with, who friended me on Facebook, shared one of our episodes, and that's one of the nicest things you can do. Please do that. Keep doing that.
Yep.
And we appreciate all the support.
Yeah. All right. Thanks. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Debaser is hosted by Will Taylor and Jared Rusk, with production by Jared Rusk. Want to email the show? Send it to podcast@debaserpod.com. Want to help us out? Please leave us a review on your podcast platform of choice, especially Apple Podcasts. And please tell a friend to listen to Debaser. Thank you for listening, and take care out there.
Her mother was a golden girl, slit her throat just to get her pearls. Cast myself into a whirl before a bunch of swine. So long way down the Harlan Road, busted back in a heavy load. Won't get through to save my soul.